Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And to all my brothers out here preaching this truth to you, I say Shalom. This is Amatazar from the Chicago camp, coming back at you with another lesson. And this lesson is entitled Closed Casket, Stabbed over 217 times. Okay. Now that sounds very uh, brutal and gruesome. Okay. But this is a lesson, okay, to reinforce, okay, the issues of death. So before I start with this story, I just want to make mention here in the Chicagoland area, there was a 29-year-old. Okay. I think this was Sunday night. 29-year-old driving and a car or a SUV came across like three lanes of traffic driving from the opposite direction, all right, and hit this woman head on, okay, killing her, all right. Also, there were two children in the car, minor injuries, I believe, and then also in the SUV, no one was seriously injured, okay. So we serve a power, all right, that literally spoke everything into existence. Okay. And everything obeys his will. You cannot hide. Okay. You cannot hide. You cannot get away from the judgment of the Lord. All right. So now, I just wanted to say that before starting into this lesson here. Now, this lesson was pulled directly from People magazine. All right. It says man stabbed ex-girlfriend 217 times after she said she was done with him as mom confronts killer in court. Okay. So this woman, okay, this looks like a Jake, okay, so-called Eve. All right. Um, she was stabbed over 217 times to the point where she had to have a closed casket. Okay. Her funeral had to be closed casket. All right. Now, I'm just gonna say this: some of you women, well, most of you women are very superficial. Okay, and you flaunt your beauty around this, that, and the other. All right, but you have to look at the situation. This situation is clearly judgment. Okay, all right. So that pretty face and the attitude that came behind it. All right, the Lord judged this woman. Okay, she couldn't have an open casket. Let's get into some of the details. Bruce Maben, 48, was convicted of first-degree murder on Monday, November 3rd, in connection with death of 40-year-old Sherelle Pringle. Pringle, a mother of one, was stabbed 217 times. At Maben's sentencing, Pringle's mother, Pearl Garner, called Mabem scum, saying, "I hope you rot in hell for what you did." Okay? All right, so we're gonna get into that a little bit as well when it comes to hell. You hear people say "rotten hell." Sometimes you hear people say "burn in hell." Okay, this particular one she said "rot in hell," but we'll cover that as well. A Massachusetts man was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the brutal stabbing of his ex-girlfriend. Bruce Maben, 48, was convicted of first-degree murder on Monday, November 3rd, in connection with the death of 40-year-old Sherelle Pringle. This verdict and subsequent sentence will ensure that the defendant will be held accountable for his senseless and atrocious conduct. The Essex County District Attorney Paul F. Tucker said Wednesday, November 5th, "Our hope is that the family and friends of Sherelle Pringle can find some comfort in this outcome." Well, they're never going to find outcome or comfort in the outcome when Esau takes the murderer and then makes him property of the state and profits off of him instead of putting him to death. Pringle, a mother of a teenage son, went missing in the early morning hours of December 19th, 2021. Her body was found. Her body was found 2 days later in Rumney Marsh Reservoir in Sugar. She had been stabbed more than 217 times, according to Boston TV News. Pringle allegedly texted a friend prior to her killing that she was done with Maven after he illegally entered her home and menaced her with a knife, according to pretrial motion. "You don't deserve to be walking here," she said via a victim impact statement per Boston 25 News. "You will get what you deserve because God don't like ugly." Well, sorry, ma'am. God is the one that did it. "I hope you rot in hell for what you did," she said. Okay, this is the mother of Pringle. Garner said her daughter had to have a closed casket funeral because of the vicious attack. All right, now here's very important. Okay, if you're experiencing domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline 1-800-799-7233 or go to thehotline.org. All calls are toll free and confidential. The hotline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in more than 170 languages. Okay? All right. So, there is no hotline that you could ever call to prevent the Lord from executing judgment. All right, so let's get into these scriptures. Proverbs 20 and 24. First off, man's goings are of the Lord Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? Okay, so everything we do is governed by the Lord, whether we realize it or not. Okay, where we go, what we do. Okay, Job 12 and 9, it says, "Who knoweth not in all these things that the hand of Yahweh have wrought this, in whose hand is the soul of every living thing and the breath of all mankind." See, in this truth, we believe this written word. And because we believe this written word, we don't let the doctrine of Christianity, okay, negate what's written. Okay? This is Isaiah 45 and 7. "I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and I create evil. I, the Lord Yahweh, do all these things." Okay, so the Lord is taking credit. All right. Deuteronomy 32 and 39. "See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand." So there is no 1-800 number, okay, that you can call to prevent the Lord, okay, from executing judgment. This is 2 Timothy 3 and 1. It says, "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection." Okay, that was important to note that. All right, because this man was driven to plunge a knife into this woman's body. Okay, more than 217 times. At what point do you know that it's not natural affection? Okay. At what point is this deeper than the so-called crime of passion that Esau calls it? All right. No natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce despisers of those that are good. The days of "I want to see you happy even if it's not with me" are gone. And that's a fact. Okay. There was a song back in the day by Mace. It said, "Tell me what you want from me." All right. It was a hit song. and he made a comment. He said, I want to see you happy even if it's not with me. Well, that ain't today. This is Matthew 24 and 12. It says, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. All right. So we're at the door. All right. This gospel, all right, has been preached throughout the entire earth. Okay. And it's affecting everybody. All right. You had the so-called Jewish woman, all right, who said that the biggest problem for Israel, all right, over there, them small hats, is the American youth. Why is that? Why are we the biggest problem? Okay. The elder Manatazagba, every week he's posting, videos of Jakes that's coming against this truth strong and hard. They're just marking themselves. All right. So the end is at the door. The issues of death belong to the Lord Yahweh. Psalm 68 and 20 says, He that is our power is the power of salvation. And unto the Most High, the Lord, belong the issues from death. All right. So all the issues of death belong to the Lord. Matthew 10 and 29. Are not two sparrows sold for a farthing? And one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father. But every hair of your head are all numbered. What does that mean? Every head of your hair is all numbered. That means that the Lord knows you in detail. Okay? Every head of your hair is numbered. Okay? That's referring to your life. All right? The Lord knows exactly when you out of here. Okay? And how you're out of here. This is Sirach 39 and 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. You see that? The Lord said death was created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions and serpents and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment. Okay, that's the Lord's commandment. And they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. Okay? All right. So the Lord ultimately is the hitman. Salakia 18, Salakia, Ecclesiastes 18 and 1. He that liveth forever have created all things in general. The Lord only is righteous, and there is none other but he, who governeth the world with the palm of his hand, and all things obey his will. For he is the king of all, by his power dividing holy things among them from profane. All right. And I want to close here in Job. Just to be clear, when we talk about hell, okay, hell is Sheol, hell is the grave. All right. And there is no burning in the grave. There is rotting in the grave, of course. All right. But your body rots in the grave. That's a fact. All right. But the spirit goes upward. Okay. You know what? Let me get the spirit goes upward real quick, and then I'm gonna come back to that. That's in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 3 and 21. I'll start with You know what? Let me start with 19. You know what? I'll start with 18. Ecclesiastes 3 and 18. I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that the Most High might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts. Even one thing befalleth them. As the one dieth, so dieth the other. Yea, they have all one breath, so that a man have no preeminence over a beast, for all is vanity. All go unto one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth. Okay? So that's the point right there. The spirit of man goes upward. Okay? So now let's get into the closing here. This is Job 3 and 11. And this is in reference to the woman. She says she hoped he rot in hell, right? This is Job 3 and 11. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Why did the knees prevent me, or why the breast that I should suck? For now should I have lain still and been quiet, I should have slept. Then had I been at rest with kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden untimely birth. I had not been as infants which never saw light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together, they hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Okay? All right. So when the woman made the comment, I hope you rot in hell. Okay. And that was kind of meant to be as a in other words, she's hoping that he finds torture in hell. And there's no torture in hell. Okay. Uh, those who are in the grave are at rest. Okay. Until, all right, the resurrection of life, or until the resurrection of damnation. All right. So this has been, all right, let me go back to the title. Closed casket, stabbed over 217 times. All right. Another short lesson in regards to who's in control of death, the issues of death, and judgment. I pray that this lesson has been edifying. Until the next one, Shalom.